Hello Virgo, so I'm doing your weekly tarot for June the 3rd to the 10th. I'm going to take a look at what is going on in your situation. We'll find out why it's happening. We're looking at what's going on in your blind spot, figuring out anything that's working for you. And of course, we're seeing how it is likely going to play out as well, okay? So, for your situation, you have got third eye chakra. Now, listen, here's the deal, right, with chakras. This is the way I approach them anyway. You don't have to subscribe to the belief in the chakra systems, okay? You can always take the more sort of psychological approach to them, okay? It's just whatever clicks with you easier. Okay, this one says clairvoyance and intuition and the higher levels of consciousness. It's connected to the phrase I see, right? So whatever angle you're wanting to approach the chakras from, this one is saying see things the way that they truly are, not for the way that you wish it could be, okay? It's also very much connected to your ability to use your powers of foresight, okay? It can be blocked by illusions, it can be blocked by being lied to, or perhaps ways in which you might have been kidding yourself or lying to yourself, okay? That's all part of the illusions that can block your third eye chakra, or it can block your ability to see things the way that they truly, truly are, okay? So you can approach that message from whatever angle is your own preference, okay? Right, so we'll find out more about what is going on with the situation here. I need way more information, okay, before I start getting into what is actually going on. Reach out. So this one is the equivalent to the Three of Pentacles in traditional tarot. And it's saying that a stress shared is a stress halved, or responsibility shared is, you know, it's less things for you to worry about, isn't it, Virgo? Now, the thing is, we've got intuition, clairvoyance, psychic senses, and seeing things the way that they truly are here, and then reach out. Your situation's telling me, Virgo, not everybody is as intuitive as you are. Not everybody is psychic. Okay, so how are they going to know that you're needing help if you don't say it, if you don't ask for it, if you're not reaching out, right? The combination of these two, it reminds me very much of that saying of always check in on your strongest friends, right? No one ever checks in on your strongest friends. And I'm understanding that your situation, Virgo, is out of your social circle, you're going to be the strongest friend that nobody's checking in on, okay? But again, you need to keep in mind that other people, and you and me, we do the exact same. We're all consumed with what is going on in our own lives, that we don't necessarily stop and think about other people and what's going on with them and what they're getting up to and if they're okay, right? Because we're mostly all just trying to survive through every day ourselves. Do you know what I mean? It's not that we're selfish or anything like that, not necessarily. It's just that we're all, you know, busy with our own lives, yeah? And everyone's done that. Everyone does do that, okay? So, yes, it is unfortunate that you're finding yourself in this situation now where you're in need of some sort of help or comfort or assistance here, maybe guidance as well. And at the moment, you're just not receiving that, okay? Right, let's find out more. Let's find out more. Can you tell us more about this energy for Virgo? What is going on with this third eye energy and reaching out, please? For Virgo, June the 3rd to the 10th. Tell us more about the situation. Okay, right, I was going to say there's something there at the back section that wanted to come away. Right, the Ten of Pentacles, off balance, interesting. This is a difficult energy, okay, Virgo, I'm not going to lie. Whenever the Ten of Pentacles comes out in any position that is not in the upright, it can indicate some sort of loss, right? With it being the 10 of Pentacles, that's a significant loss. Now, you could be in the process of losing something and really needing another person to speak to about that, okay? Very, very stressful times. Sometimes it can indicate like a split or a divorce, a parting of the ways, a division of assets, okay? It could be having to sell property or having to sell anything of great financial value, but taking a hit on it, so having to sell it for less than what it's worth. Do you know what I mean? The Ten of Pentacles in that position, yes, it can be absolutely devastating, but it's also, because it's Pentacles energy, it is something that you are going to be able to recover from. Do you know what I mean? So it's a loss for the time being, but you will be able to rebuild because it's Pentacles. That's the way that the Pentacles energy works. You can always rebuild. You might have to be giving something up or surrendering something as well, and not wanting to do that, okay? I'm looking at this Ten of Pentacles and I'm getting, this is against Virgo's will. This is against Virgo's wishes. Virgo does not want to do this. Virgo would much rather hold on to whatever this is, right? So again, that's adding to the difficulties of this particular Ten of Pentacles, right? Now, if that was in the reverse position, that would be a situation that, yes, you are still going to be able to come back from and rebuild from, but it's going to take you a hell of a long time to do so, okay? With it being off balance, it's not actually going to take you that long to recover from or rebuild again. Does that make sense? It's like the recovery time is shortened because it's not in the reverse. Okay, let's find out more. Can you tell us more? And also, when that card came out of the deck as well, it was quite aggressive. You would have seen that. And I knew as well, I knew that one of those cards in that section wanted to come out, right? So this is something that you have known about for a while. This is something that you have been preparing for as well for a while, okay? Your ability to use your powers of foresight and your ability to adapt and then prepare for when things do go wrong, I feel that that is going to further strengthen you for when the rebuilding process can begin. Okay, yeah, see, the Eight of Cups. And you'll notice that that one wasn't strictly in the upright position either. That one was also, it's very subtly scattered energy, right? So honestly, Virgo, I feel like you put in a very brave face on a very awful, very difficult situation. Okay. Now again, there could be like a job loss here as well, and anything like that that negatively impacts your ability to support yourself, okay? That, like, this is really, really rough energy. But again, the fact that you've seen it coming and you've put some sort of preparations in place, that's been a huge saving factor, okay? So that Eight of Cups is just adding weight to the message that Spirit's already given us about how you don't want to do this, you don't want to be in this position, you didn't do anything to create this situation, okay? So you know how a lot of people say, oh, well, you attract what you are, or, oh, well, you must have manifested this. That's not always the case. And in your reading, Virgo, that's definitely not the case. I can see that clearly. Like, this is not a situation that you have created. This is a situation that you're having to respond to. And from what I can make out, Virgo, you're responding to it in a very level-headed, very wise way. Okay? Right, why is this happening? Seek the truth, the Seven of Swords. So you know what the Seven of Swords energy is in traditional tarot. It's lies, trickery, deceit. It's the Beware card. It's all about the illusions, okay? And you can see how this person here is peeling back the curtains and discovering that there is beautiful sunshine behind those curtains, right? This is a revelation of some type. And with this being a catalytic energy, this has already happened. You've already made a discovery. You've already peeled back the curtains and seen what was truly behind there, seen truly what was being hidden. And it could well be, Virgo, that maybe another person has been lying to you for very many years. And then you genuinely feeling like, okay, I cannot bring myself to keep associating with a person that is incapable of telling the truth, right? Honestly, Virgo, I wouldn't put up with it either. And I would leave as well. I definitely would. I'm seeing here that something has already been revealed to you that has forced you into making this decision here. Again, I knew it. I knew that you hadn't caused this situation. You definitely have not caused this. Ace of Pentacles. For why this is happening. Because it is time for something new here for you, Virgo. Either a new house or a new job. Maybe a new career. Okay, Ace of Pentacles can easily be all of those things. You got the Ace of Wands in the reverse, and there's quite a moody energy connected to these three reversals, because again, you would have seen the energy of how those cards came out of that deck. It was quite moody. I'm not going to go as far as to say it was aggressive, right? It wasn't aggressive, it was moody. And then you got the Queen of Wands in the reverse position and the Temperance card also in the reverse position. And these two definitely can imply moody, a moody person, someone who's got a very short fuse. And again, with this being catalytic energy, I feel that literally describes another individual that you have been dealing with. You've been dealing with someone who's very two-faced, who's very selfish, who's very, very greedy as well with the Ace of Wands in reverse. They cannot cope at all whenever anything is not going their way, right? People say, observe how certain people that you associate with behave when things are going wrong, right? Because that is their true character. That's their true nature. Someone's true nature cannot be observed accurately when everything's going right and when everything's going their way. Okay? The true character will always come out when things are going wrong, and how they handle stress, right? This energy here typically blames everyone else for things going wrong in their lives. They have this knack for demonizing other people, and I want to say unfairly as well. Okay. This is also a person who they do not want to be outshone by you, Virgo. Okay, like this is the energy of someone who does see you as a threat, and I wouldn't be too surprised if this person has sabotaged your efforts for success before in the past. Do you know what I mean? Because a Queen of Wands energy is very, very jealous, very, very envious, and likes to copy. Okay, they like to copy people, they like to copy their ideas, they like to copy how other people dress, right? They like to copy other people's work and palm it off as if it were their own. Do you know what I mean? Very, very unoriginal is a Queen of Wands in the reverse, especially with these other reversals as well, right? Ace of Wands reverse, that's someone who never has any ideas of their own. Okay, very grumpy, very moody, just not nice to be around at all. And when you spend too much time around a person like that, you will find yourself becoming very, very tired, very withdrawn, very disinterested in life, very depressed. Okay? That's the energy that a person like that can palm off to others. They're like a dark cloud or an energy vampire, something like that, okay? This is all catalytic energy. Now, maybe you had to work with this person. Maybe you were living with this person. I don't know. I don't even know who this person is. Do keep in mind, I'm not a psychic, I'm an intuitive, okay? So I can only read the strongest overall energies. I can only give you what I've got, okay, Virgo? I don't know personally who this individual is to you. I can definitely see the effect that they have had and to a certain extent are still having on you to this day. I can see that, definitely. And all of what I've just said is the truth that is being revealed to you. It has already been revealed to you because it's a catalytic energy. You went out seeking the truth. Guess what? You peel back that curtain and you fucking found the truth. Now you're having to respond to it right here. And the worst part of all of this, Virgo, is you genuinely feel like you're on your own and that you've got nobody to speak to about this, because maybe this individual is actually someone who is quite popular, right? Other people typically tend to like this person. Why? Because they can't see behind that curtain yet, Virgo. You can. And it's my firm belief that those who see the truth for the way that it legit is, they usually are not surrounded by a whole bunch of people. They usually are individuals who end up sort of a little bit more isolated away from the rest of society, because the rest of society is only consumed with either their own shit, as I've already mentioned, which is fair enough, or they are consumed with trying to maintain the current status quo. Do you know what I mean? So the truth seekers, the truth speakers, the black sheep, the scapegoats, they're not typically very, very popular people. That's why you're feeling this loneliness here now, Virgo. Okay, but the thing that Spirit wants you to know, which is hyper important, if you only take one thing away from this reading, make it this one thing, is that you're not actually on your own. Okay, there are hundreds, if not thousands of us out there. Okay, I can promise you that. Spirit's wanting you to know you're not actually on your own. What's on your blind spot? Joy and stability. So this one's the Four of Wands, if it were traditional tarot. And it's in your blind spot, Virgo. You reaching a milestone, a celebration. You finding your stability again. You finding your joy in life again. You creating a lot of joy and happiness in your life. Okay, these are things that nobody can take away from you. These are things that you get to keep. There might even be a new home here. Okay, so not just a house, because houses a ten a penny. A home, which is completely different. There is a new home here. It's in your blind spot. Because remember, the Four of Wands can signify a home. You feeling at home. And that is a significant milestone. Can you tell us more for Virgo's blind spot, please? Is that one there? The Ten of Swords. I do apologise for that ridiculous sounding car. Yeah, so the Ten of Swords, it is an ending. But this is indicating, because again, it's in your blind spot. You'll be glad that whatever this is here, and again, I don't know the exact details of that situation, you will be glad that that situation there didn't work out. And I feel that this is a continuation of one of your more recent readings that I've done for you, Virgo. Because that energy, it feels familiar to me. I think it was last week's reading. The Tower for in your blind spot. Let's take a deeper dive. What's going on with this Ten of Swords and the Tower in Virgo's blind spot? You know, Virgo, I actually feel like this is something that is backfiring onto whoever that Queen of Wands reversed is. Because there's some sort of energy here that is unsustainable. Yeah, Four of Wands in the upright. Four of Wands there, Four of Wands there. Five of Swords, Six of Wands, Three of Swords, Nine of Pentacles. Look at that energy. Look. I said that this was a backfire, didn't I? Yeah. Which one of these cards stands out? Three of Swords. Right? So on the surface, it looks like whoever this Queen of Wands reversed is currently winning at life. It looks that way. But that is not the truth. Because you got this coming out in your blind spot. Which is saying, this Queen of Wands reversed, whoever they are, their life is fake. Their personality is fake. Everything about them is fake. That is unsustainable. Trust me on this. While you're creating joy and stability and a safe home, while you're making Huge improvements. You're coming on leaps and bounds here in your own personal growth with your career and all the rest that comes with it, right? This individual here is a foundational shift. In fact, it's not just a foundational shift, it is, I'm hearing annihilation, okay? So don't be fooled by thinking that they're winning at life and that you've got nothing, because the exact opposite is true. You've got everything here and they end up with nothing, but that is consequences of them being inauthentic. That is consequences of them trying to meddle in other people's lives. Okay? Nobody gets away with that shit. So they have cost you in the short term, they have cost you, but in the long run, you actually achieve so much more than what you otherwise would have achieved had you have stayed in that original situation. Does that make sense? So whoever this is, they've tried to destroy you, but in the process, they've ended up destroying themselves. Okay, because you've got a combination here, Virgo, about keep smiling and keep being happy, because it's driving the hater absolutely crazy. Okay. It's driving them mad. Because remember, this is a very competitive individual. Okay. They're competing for what it is that you have. They're competing for who it is that you are. Right? Make it make sense. They're being ridiculous. Rebuild. I've already mentioned the word rebuild for what is working for you. Do you remember there with the Ten of Pentacles? We already covered that, didn't we? And I said, Virgo, it's not going to take you very long at all to rebuild, right? Now, with this being number 16, this one's the equivalent of the Tower in traditional tarot, right? That's twice now you've had the Tower that's come out. So what's working for you is you being the Tower energy, okay? And you rebuilding from the Tower situation that you've recently been through. Do you know what I mean? Literally, that's what's working for you. Focus on rebuilding. The Emperor. Taking back your power. The Emperor overlooks their empire. Okay, the Emperor is a conqueror. Virgo, what's working for you? You're going to conquer the living fuck out of this. That's what's going to work for you. Okay? Yes, the language is relevant. You need to take on that badass energy, Virgo. Okay? Seek for how this is likely going to play out for you. This is your major arcana because it's number 9. This would be the Hermit in traditional tarot. Okay? Seek. Finding balance. This is restoration. This is meditation. This is being present in the moment. Diving deep. Going within and listening for the answers. Okay? This is someone who has control of their own actions and of their own emotions. It's like a very wise sage here. Okay? This is the energy that you're going to be in when this situation has all played out. Can you tell us more? Virgo, thank you. Yeah, the Three of Pentacles. See, again, you've already had the Three of Pentacles out. It was there, up at the top. Okay? So when you're feeling ready to reach out and maybe talk about, maybe discuss what it is that you've been through here, when you're feeling ready to do that, I'm seeing that you will be able to do that. It doesn't help at the moment the fact that you might not be able to articulate everything that you've been going through. Okay? And that's perfectly understandable. given the severity of what's gone on here. Now, again, I don't know the exact specifics. I can only read the energy. Okay, I can tell that it's severe. I can tell that it's been horrifically unfair, totally uncalled for as well. And yet here you are. Do you know what I mean? So I'm actually seeing you taking on, and it sounds weird, taking on some sort of counseling role here because of this process that you yourself have been through. I'm seeing you taking on this energy of, do you know what? When I was going through it, there wasn't anyone around for me. And I didn't know who to turn to or where to turn. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to position myself in such a way, whereas if anyone else is going through this, what I've already been through, then people are going to know that they can come find me. And I'm going to help them. And I'm going to show them the way because I've already been through it. Do you know what I mean? This can indicate a service. Your energy here, creating and providing a service for others who don't know where to turn to when they're going through stuff like that. 10 of Wands is your strongest overall energy, which is a heavy, heavy load for any one person to carry. That's your current energy, Virgo. So when you started off this reading, you were feeling this heavy, heavy weight. But now, hopefully, now that we're almost through your reading, hopefully now you're feeling a lot lighter and a lot more in control. You got Death card here, which is change, letting go, releasing, allowing yourself that rebirth, like your phoenix moment, okay? With the Death card, that is usually a phoenix moment because it's a symbolic death and a rebirth. And yes, you never being the same ever again, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Death energy is actually very inspirational. Very inspirational. Think about, okay, there's a card that's just landed on my lap, so we're going to take that one. Think about if you've either had to cut down a tree or cut a limb off a tree, or if part of a tree has fallen over in a storm. Now just imagine that log, that fallen log, right? And just leave it on the grass and observe it over the next 12 months, right? That limb, that log, is technically dead because it's no longer connected to the tree. It's no longer receiving energy from the tree that it was once a part of. So it's now technically dead. But the amount of life that is going to grow on that fallen log over 12 months is not even that long, right? That is 12 months is a blink of an eye on the grand scheme of things. But after the 12 months, how much life is going to be growing on that log? When you lift up the log, how many bugs and insects are going to make their home under that log? How many different types of moss is going to grow on that, right? How many types of mushroom, lichen, right? How much life is on that log? So I ask you, is that log dead or is it alive? Okay, that's how you can analyze the death energy. Because they say there needs to be that cycle, life, death, rebirth. Would you consider that log, even though the log itself is dead, it has provided new life for everything else around it? Therefore, is that a rebirth? I would say so. And then as it starts to rot down, it's going to go into the soil and it's going to feed all of those microbiomes that's in the soil. Do you know what I mean? So that dead log is going to keep feeding its immediate environment. Anyway, I just thought that there was quite a powerful metaphor there. Right, number 22 for your healing message. It says Pegasus and freedom. Okay, so your healing message. Let's have a look. It says, find freedom in the mastery of one's self. You cannot control others. To be truly free, you must cultivate your independence. No one owns you but you. You always have a choice. Look to your values in order to make a good decision. There is a saying that translates roughly to, if you ride a horse, you fly without wings. There is, for those of us who love horses, nothing like the feeling of the powerful freedom of moving with a horse. The whole sensory overload of speed, sound, smell, and the wind in your hair, and of being connected with another animal so closely that is primal in a way, it gives awe, pleasure, and a sense of freedom. Pegasus was the immortal horse of mythos who actually did have wings. Pegasus was born from the neck of the dying Medusa. Beautiful and powerful, yet free and wild, Pegasus remained riderless for a long time. And it's worth mentioning as well that Medusa was not a villain. Medusa was the victim of the R word, and the girlfriend or the wife of the artist was consumed with so much jealousy and envy, go figure, so she punished Medusa and turned Medusa into a monster. Medusa was never the villain. Ain't that some shit? Your words of power that come with this card, Virgo, is I am free and I always have a choice. Okay? You always have a choice and you are free. Right, so let's take a look at some cheeky words of wisdom from the Swear Tarot, just to try and uplift this energy a little bit, okay? Right, so what else for Virgo? This one here. Okay. You're going to receive a pleasant and unexpected fucking surprise. Beautiful. So there's a pleasant surprise that's coming through for you, Virgo. Calm the fuck down and take a break. Yep. Try it and see what the fuck happens. And a big change nudges you to let go of shit from the past. Okay? But yeah, that is what I have for you today. I genuinely hope that that reading has been helpful. For personal reads with me, my website is phoenixkeiatarot.com. The link for that is in my description box below. Thank you so very, very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.